Hello, welcome to another visit to the allotment. It's not been a week, it's actually been a couple of days since I posted the last video, but it's a nice evening. I finished work, come up here for the evening to do a bit of watering and a couple of other little jobs, so I thought I'd do another video. And I thought, let's do a bit of concurrent activity. While I'm making my brew, I'd say hello and talk a little bit. And I wanted to mention that book, Why We Sleep, by Matthew Walker, that I mentioned in a previous video, and nothing really to do with sleep, but I found it fascinating and rather funny that the author, Matthew Walker, collects alarm clocks. And of course, as he's advanced and collected some, they've got more sophisticated and more extreme. And the one that really made me laugh was the one that is like a child's toy, in so much as it has different shapes, squares, circles, diamonds, etc., little wooden blocks, and they have to fit in the corresponding hole in the block. You know the kind of toy. And so when the alarm goes off, the box vibrates and these little shapes fly all over the bedroom. And the only way to switch the alarm off is to find them all around the bedroom, bring them back, put them in the correct slots, and then the alarm goes off. Now that's hilarious. Why would anybody subject themselves to that kind of extreme alarm? Unless they bought it as a present for somebody they didn't like. But yeah, I found that quite humorous. It's a lovely evening. Beautiful evening. Obviously somebody's in trouble. But the other thing I wanted to mention was on a more serious note. And I don't want to be controversial. That's not what these videos are about. They're meant to be fun and informative. And I've always said I can be used, I'm not completely useless, I can be used as a bad example, especially when it comes to growing vegetables. But that aside, we all know the benefits of fruits and vegetables, but I don't think we all know just how beneficial they are. I think we lose sight of what Hippocrates, i.e. the Hippocratic Oath, first said thousands of years ago, and that was that let food be thy medicine and let medicine be thy food. And we've rather lost sight of that, to the point where I'd like to tell you a small story. And don't quote me, you'll have to look it up for yourself. But a few decades ago, back when juicing wasn't really heard of, a young cancer research assistant was having his lunchtime vegetable juice, probably in California, where it had taken off long before anyone else knew about it. And his job was to take chemotherapy drugs and drip them with a pipette onto cancer cells, different strains. And that's what he was doing, and then weeks later he'd come back to the petri dish and see how the various chemotherapy liquids had done on the various strains of cancer. And while he was doing this idly and having his lunch, he thought, well, why don't I just try a little bit of my own vegetable juice? So he got a petri dish with a few different cancer cells and got a pipette and put his vegetable juice on the cancer cells and thought no more of it. Some time later he came back and some of the chemo drugs had done moderately well against some of the cancer cells, but his vegetable juice had killed all the cancer cells. And he thought that was rather interesting, so he decided to investigate a bit further, and he broke his vegetable juice down into the component parts. Which vegetables was it that was having that effect on the cancer cells? And from that he produced a league table of various vegetables that are useful, bearing in mind these are raw vegetables, in destroying cancer cells. And that league table is available online and is fascinating. But of course that's anecdotal. So back in 2009 some scientists got together, and I've got to read this. The study was called The Anti-Proliferative and Antioxidant Activities of Common Vegetables. So they did exactly the same, but in a more scientific setting. They ran vegetables through a juicer, got all the different strains of cancer, and then observed what they found. And the findings were that the top vegetable for killing cancer cells was garlic. Garlic stopped cancer cell growth completely in breast, brain, lung, pancreatic, prostate, stomach and childhood brain cancers. I'll repeat that again. Garlic stopped cancer cell growth completely in breast, brain, lung, pancreatic, prostate, stomach and childhood brain cancers. Number 2 was leeks. It was number 1 against kidney cancer. Garlic was number 2. Then came onions, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts and cabbage. Obviously they're from the allium and the cruciferous vegetables families. And then spinach and beetroot. Now, I find that fascinating, and I hope you do, and I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm just trying to say that vegetables, we all know how good they are for us, but do we really know how good they are for us? So whenever I can, I juice those vegetables, or I eat them raw in most cases. I've tried juicing leeks, it's disgusting. However, people do that. I can't do it personally. But I'll leave that to you. Interesting. Cheers. It's that time of year when my wife comes along to the allotment and has the patience to do all the picking, mostly of the blackcurrants, although she's picking blueberries now. Aren't you, dear? That's the most response I'll get from her. You'll see very little else, maybe a wry smile. A woman happy in her work. The one group of summer fruiting raspberries that we've got. Rather odd that with these purple snap peas, in amongst hundreds and hundreds of the purple peas, as you'd expect, strangely there is one green one. Now why would that be? If anyone knows, please let me know in the comments, because that's odd. This is my Atlantic giant pumpkin plant. I've only got the one. Barry on one of the other plots gave me 3 seeds. 1 germinated. He's got 1 or 2 that have germinated. So we're going to see how big we can grow an Atlantic giant pumpkin. I'm going to go and put this in one of my old compost beds now that I've left to one side specifically for this little beauty. And I'm hoping to beat the size of Barry's. I'm hoping. We shall see, and we'll monitor it as the summer progresses. Atlantic giant. Let's get it in. Ooh, this is good stuff. Blimey. This is a very old compost heap, and the stuff in it looks fantastic. I think I'm going to blow Barry's Atlantic giant pumpkins out of the water here. Right, bit of water. And we're away. Over to you. I think I will just go and get some of that garlic water and spray that before the slugs that are living in this compost heap just scream for joy and start eating. That'll be a really good test of how good the garlic spray is, because right now there's not a single bite out of this. It's been in my greenhouse at home. So that'll be a very good test, and to see if the slugs touch it or not. Okay, it's in thick compost, been well watered in, and it's had some garlic spray. There's nothing more I can do except watch the giant pumpkin grow. Cheryl won't mind me saying she's not the greatest fan of being on an allotment, but when it comes to sitting quietly, patiently and picking blackcurrants by the thousands, she is the master. So I'm going to stick out of the way and do what I do best, because there's a nice hot cup of tea sat in the shed for me right now. And I think the best thing I can do is keep her company. As soon as this camera goes off, I'm in for a telling off, I think.
I saw Jane today, our tomatoes are growing nice.
Good. Right, lovely calabrese. That'll be good for tea tomorrow. And these will go in a smoothie with the blackcurrants that Cheryl's picking. And as the picking continues, we're nearly done here. Another lovely crop to go home. Very pleased. Okay, just a quick video of our evening activities. So I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it. And hit the like button if you can. Thanks very much. See you again soon. Bye.